In this extra practice section, we're going to be writing equations for parabolas given all this different information. Either we're given the vertex and the focus, the vertex and the directrix, or maybe even a focus and a directrix with no vertex at all. It's very important to remember which direction these are all opening. I'm going to determine which direction these all open first before I do these exercises. I want to make a note of the directions. It says that we should write our equation in vertex form. Going back to our previous section, we wrote equations for our parabolas two different ways. The way that we've originally learned it on the very front page of our notes, this is what I consider and what is sometimes referred to as the standard form equation for a parabola. Underneath it, if you solve for the variable x, isolating the linear variable, not the quadratic variable, but the linear one, when it's solved for x, or in this case, y in number 4, that's called the vertex form. So the answer key for these additional exercises, which is provided after the exercises in that link, they are looking for vertex equations, vertex form. That would be these, if you solve them for that linear variable by moving the 4p to the other side and adjusting that constant to the other side. So that's what vertex form is. Up here is standard form, down there is vertex form. So let's get started. First, I may not be able to, and probably wouldn't help us out if I did every single one of these, but the very first thing I want to do is determine in which direction all of these parabolas are opening, where each of them gives us different information. If your vertex is the origin and your focus is below it, the focus is always on the inside of your parabola. That means this one opens down. And because it opens down, that means the equation we're going to try to write is 4py equals x squared. Now the origin is already considered in this formula as its vertex. We know that the distance between the vertex at 0, 0 and its focus is the value of p, and this p value is -1/32 because that's the distance these 2 points are away from each other. Finish this one out. What we want to do is multiply this, but then convert this into vertex form. 1/32 times 4 is 1/8. Because it is negative, we'll write -1/8 y equals x squared. The vertex form has the y by itself. Multiply both sides by a -8, and this is your vertex formula for the very first parabola. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not going to answer or work through all of these. That video would take a long time. But let's first talk about the direction that these exercises, each of these parabolas, is facing. If our vertex is the origin, where is the point 0, 1/8 in respect to that origin? With respect to that origin, that focus is above it, so we think this is going to open up. We're going to use the same 4py equals x squared. Question 3. The directrix is a horizontal line, and the directrix is above the origin. If the directrix is a horizontal line above the origin, that means this is opening down. And if you need help, let's sketch a picture for this one. Here's your vertex. Your directrix is a y equals equation above it. Remember, your parabola will never intersect your directrix, so opening up is not an option. Right or left is not an option. This would have to open down accordingly. We'd use the same 4py equals x squared. Here's our directrix. It's another horizontal line, but it's below the origin. So if you were sketching a picture, this is what it would look like. That would make this parabola open up. Taking a look at 5 and 6. Here is our vertex. It is no longer the origin. The focus is where with respect. It has the same y coordinate but a different x coordinate. 4 goes into 25 times. 21 is one more. This point is farther to the left. So if you have a vertex and the focus is to its left, that means this parabola is opening to the left. Since this is a new direction, I'm going to complete this exercise. start by using that standard form equation, 4px equals y squared, because we know it opens left and right. We also know the distance between the vertex and the focus is 1/4. In this case, because it's to the left, that value for p is negative 1/4. Let's plug this in. 4 times negative 1/4 x equals y squared. That makes negative x equal y squared. The only thing I need to adjust for is our vertex. Let's move the vertex and all the points of the parabola 5 left and 8 down. Put a negative on the outside of a set of parentheses. X plus 5 equals the quantity y minus 8. Now, if this were vertex form, the x would be by itself. Let's get rid of this negative. Let's divide both sides by -1. And then let's subtract 5, and this will be our vertex form. Somebody forgot to square the y. Let's subtract the 5. This is the vertex form answer for this exercise. Number 6, here's the vertex, and here's the focus. So the focus is always in the direction of which way it's opening. 4 goes into 32 8 times. This is less than that absolute value of 8. So what does that mean? If the vertex is to the left in the coordinate plane, this point is not quite as far to the left as its vertex. So that means the vertex would be here and its focus would be to its right. This tells us that this parabola opens to the right, and since this is a different direction than the last one, why don't we try this one out? Again, 4p x equals y squared. What's the distance from the vertex to the focus? It looks like it is 1/4. How do I know that? This would be 32/4. This is 31/4 in absolute value in size. That's 1/4 difference. Because it's opening to the right, this p-value is 1/4. Now again, if we were in delta math, question number 5, they would want to know that the p-value would be the same as the one for number 6, that they're both 1/4. However, in our notes, we know that this p-value is a directional distance. It tells which direction this parabola is opening. So although they would have the same answer for a p-value in delta math, for our notes, we know that this also indicates which direction the parabola opens. This opens to the right. Plug the 1/4 in here. 4 times 1/4 is 1. I'm just going to do that step in my head. Finally, let's plug in our vertex and rewrite this in vertex form. Moves this to the left 8, and we want to move this down 9. Finally, all we need to do, actually we could drop these parentheses because there's no coefficient outside of here that multiplies it. It was a 1. So let's just subtract 8 from both sides, and then this would be our vertex form answer. X equals the quantity y plus 9 squared minus 8. Okay, let's keep going through all these exercises down below. Questions 7 and 8. We have a directrix and the vertex. If the directrix is vertical, that means the parabola opens left or opens right. If the directrix is horizontal, that means it opens up or opens down. 8 goes into 48 6 times. Okay, so this is not quite yet 6. This would indicate that this opens left. If you need to draw a picture, let's draw the quickest sketch we could possibly think of. -6, -9 is somewhere down here. This is not quite yet -6. This is a little bit before it. So if the vertex is to the left, that means its focus is farther to the left, except it needs to look the same distance away from this. So it would be here. This would open left. Question 8. Your vertex is 8, 9. 8 goes into 72 9 times. This is more than 7. This is more than 9, which means the directrix is above your vertex. Again, let's draw a sketch. 8, 9, and then y equals, this is 9 1/8. So what does that indicate? This indicates that this parabola is going to open down. This parabola is going to open down. Okay, so let's get to the fun stuff. 9 and 10. They give you a point, they give you the vertex, and a y-intercept for each of these. Sketch this out. Let's see what we think. Positive 8, negative 1 is the vertex. The y-intercept is 0, negative 17, which would be down here. Now it's not a focus, it's a point that's contained on this parabola. Either we think that this parabola opens down, but I can also make a case that this is a parabola that's opening left. There are two potential answers for question number 9 because they don't tell us in our directions like 11 or 12 in which direction this parabola is opening. Either way, it's going to give you two separate answers. Since the answer key reveals the answer where it's opening down, why don't we try the one that opens left? If we consider that this opens left, that means we're going to use a 4px equals y squared equation. We don't know the value of p, but we do know a point. So let's plug in two things. Let's plug in our vertex, and then let's plug in the point. The y-intercept is 0, negative 17. So we've done one like this before. 4p x minus 8 equals the quantity y plus 1 squared. Let's introduce that point in here and solve for p. 4p equals 0 minus 8. Sorry, I said equals again. 4p times 0 minus 8 times the quantity negative 17 plus 1 squared. Let's evaluate this. 0 take away 8 is negative 8. 4 times negative 8 is negative 32p. Right hand side, negative 16 squared is positive 256. Divide by 32. P equals, now 16 goes in twice and 16 goes in 16 times. So if we divide 16 by 2, I believe that gives us negative 8. So our p-value is negative 8. We're going to rewrite this into a vertex form in a second. 4 times negative 8 times the quantity x minus 8 equals the quantity y plus 1 squared. Now what we're going to do is to rewrite this in vertex form. Together this coefficient is negative 32. Let's divide by that. X minus 8 equals negative 1 over 32 times the quantity y plus 1 squared. Let's add 8 to the other side. So this is the answer, not for number 10, even though I wrote it underneath number 10. This is the answer for question number 9 if we believed it opened in a different direction. This is taking us to the end of this video. The others like 11 and 12, they tell you which direction it opens. I will reveal to you that both of these will open to the left. Question 13 and question 14 have a vertical directrix, which means left or right. And depending on what side the directrix is compared to the focus, like in this case the directrix is to the left of the focus, which means that it opens it will open to the right. In this case, the directrix is to the right of the focus, which means that this parabola is opening to the left. So this is our last page of practice. Thank you very much for watching. There's going to be possibly one more bonus video that explains what 4p is equal to. Thanks for watching. Good luck and email me with any questions.